Forged from Iron is proud to support Iron Supporting Food Banks. They are a group of West Ham United fans and friends inspired by the work of other football fan food banks around the country. They collect food and cash donations from Newham Food Bank in Beckton, who supply 7 distribution centres in the borough, 7 days a week, and hand out several hundred 3-day emergency food packs every month to families in need. They are also working with other groups to improve conditions for vulnerable adults and children in the Newham community. They are supported in their efforts by West Ham United Football Club, the WHU Foundation, LS185, London Legacy Development Corporation, Newham Council, the Met Police, Spire London East Hospital, Expedient Security, and a large number of West Ham and football fans. You can help by making a donation to their Just Giving page. You will find the link to this in the description section of the video details in this stream. Thank you for your support. Come on, you Irons. Good evening and welcome to Forged from Iron, as it says there on the banner. Please don't forget to like, comment on and share this stream to your socials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already and hit that bell icon for alerts on new content. As always, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you very much indeed for your support. We are here to discuss that scintillating performance that took place yesterday afternoon at the London Stadium when a swashbuckling West Ham United was sent out and put Southampton to the sword in a convincing fashion by a scoreline of 1-0. Duke, I am being rather mischievous in my phraseology. Listen, it's artistic license, mate. It was fucking boring.
You're being something. The reason I was putting faces is Everton have just gone very close after 2 minutes against Spurs. And they've just bent one over the bar. Oh, shit.
Yeah. It was what it will, she. It was.
I watched the game yesterday from the confines of the pool room in my pub, surrounded by other fellow West Ham enthusiasts, a Spurs fan, a Millwall fan, and an Arsenal fan, if my memory serves.
Ooh.
And we were all in the general consensus was, Rob, that we were fucking awful.
Yes.
And the only reason we got 3 points is that Southampton were fucking shockingly awful. Right, that's it.
Exactly what Ken says there.
Ken puts it in a slightly, slightly less expletive way. But as Sharky says underneath, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Is the 3 points. As you said before we came live, we can pick the bones out of it at the end of the season.
Yeah.
We can talk about just how bad it was and how bad the football is and just generally how inept we are at playing football under David Moyes with the current tactical setup. We can do that at the end of the season, but all in all, 3 points was 3 points. We're up to 14th. And I said before, I've said it before, actually. Sorry, let me rephrase my words there. I've said it several times before, that all we have to be doing is picking up a better result than 3 of the other 8 teams around us that are fighting for. And when you look at it, it was a better result. Fulham got the same. Bournemouth got the same result. It was a better result than both Forest and Wolves. It was a better result than Leicester. It was a better result than Leeds. It was a better result than Southampton. So there we go. There's 5. That's a better result than 5 teams in the bottom 8, bottom 9. Sorry. So 5 of we've got one more. Obviously, Everton are playing right now, and if they don't pick up a win, then it's actually 6 teams we did better than out of the 9, with only Palace and Bournemouth matching us for what we did. So when you take it like that, it doesn't matter. We just have to continue that. Continue that little bit of the understanding that it is one game at a time. Pick up a better result than 3 of your rivals, and we'll be okay. We will be okay if we can continue to do that. Completely agree with Kent there about Paqueta being the best man on the park. I mean, it's unbelievable. We've signed a box striker, as he says there, and he's been left isolated. He's been hung out to dry. He actually mouthed the words "for fuck's sake" when he saw his number go up, and I feel really sorry for him. Do you know what? The best chance for Danny Ings that we created in the game, Danny Ings had just been taken off.
Yeah. And did you see this thing? I think it was in Hammers News. There's been lots of publications that I've seen flying around up since the result.
Don't tend to take much notice of that one, to be honest with you.
Well, it's words to the effect coming from the direction of David Moyes, saying that he's trying to sort of figure out how to sort of like get the best out of him. And it's like, you do realise this isn't a guy that's come from overseas. You do realise that this is a guy that's played for the last 9-10 years of Premier League football. This isn't an unknown quantity to you, for fuck's sake. And now I'm hearing latterly that he wasn't even a David Moyes signing, if you please.
Listen, that wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. I was
Sharky, yes.
Either of those comments wouldn't surprise me in the slightest, that he wasn't a Moyes signing, and that Moyes doesn't know what he's fucking doing. That's been quite clear for most of the season, Rob, to be honest with you. So, we're sitting here. We sat here on Monday and on Friday, and we discussed Saturday, and we discussed our lineups and our formations and reasons for and reasons against, and we both said that Ings and Scamacca benefit from having a partner. If I can see it, you can see it, and everyone else can see it. There's only one man that can't, unfortunately, and it's the man that picks the team, and it's the dictator that doesn't give a shit about anyone else's opinions. So we are currently going to be scratching our heads and searching for the next 11 games.
Yeah. What did you just sort of like? If we go back to the beginning, what did you make at 1 o'clock when you saw the team sheets and the substitutes? What was the first thing that you looked at and went, boom?
My exact words were, Rob, here we fucking go again. It was literally what I thought. Here we go again. It was same old, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'll just quickly answer that question from Sharky. I got to be honest with you, mate. I thought it was fairly flat from where I was. I thought it was fairly flat. There might be people in other sections of the ground that might counter my perspective on things, but I can only comment on where I was in the ground, and I thought it was pretty quiet, to be honest with you. Sorry, Duke.
No. As I say, I looked at it, Rob, and just went, it's the same old again. You can't, mate. We can nail it on every week. You can nail it on every single week. What we're going to be doing. It's annoying. It's frustrating. It's the same.
Rinse and repeat.
We've said it over and over again, Rob, numerous times about the old Einstein adage. Definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And well, he seems to be doing that. That's all he seems to be doing is trying to do the same thing over and 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 over again, expecting something different to happen. And when it doesn't, he's shocked, he's surprised, he's like, I don't get it. And I'm like, well, you must be as thick as shit, mate, because we can all see it. We can all see the issues and the problems. Why can't you? And until he does, or he gets a sack, we're going to be struggling. We're going to be up against it. We're going to be fighting, Rob, uphill. We're not fighting on the high ground as far as I'm concerned. This is the issue. We are fighting uphill. We are every team that we're coming up against has the high ground against us, and it's just depressing, isn't it? I mean, tell me you didn't feel depressed when you see that come out.
The lineup I thought was a standard David Moyes lineup.
Predictable.
I'll be honest, right? I sent it to a couple of groups, and I can't remember if I sent it to the group that we occupy or whatever. I know I sent it to the Hammers chat group. I sent a voice note just before the game kicked off, and to be honest with you, I now look at it and how the game unfolded and sort of who did what. And I sort of do sit there and I think, oh, well, that just proves you what I know about sort of the game of football. But I stand by the point I made in that I was quite surprised to see Lucas Fabianski's name as a starting member of the team. Yeah. Now, all right, I'll be honest, I've got to give him his dues. He pulled off a cracking save at 1-0. To be honest with you, I think that the fact that we got away with a 1-0 win, and that was 5 minutes. I think the save was about 5 minutes after we went 1-0 up. That save was absolutely pivotal in us getting the 3 points, because I think if they equalised there, I think our shoulders slump and their tails are up. Do you know what I mean? And it could be a completely different ball game from that point on. We might even go on to lose the game. We'll never know. That was a
Are you trying to tell me that you don't think that Areola would have saved that?
Oh, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm giving Fabianski due credit for
fair enough,
making the save. It was low. It was struck hard. It went through, there was a couple of obstacles between where the ball striker was, Perrault, and obviously Fabianski himself. So he did well to get down and get the save and push it past for a corner. Whether Areola would have made it or not, listen, we'll never know. But what I will say is that if I was Alphonse Areola, I'd be saying to my agent, get me the fuck out of here in the summer. Seriously. I mean, he's one of the highest paid players at the club. He's signed for a relatively big fee for what we pay for goalkeepers in the summer. And he hasn't really done anything, to my way of thinking, during his spell in between the sticks as Fabianski's replacement due to his injury. I don't really think he's done anything that wrong. I mean, I know you could point to the game away at Brighton. I think the opening goal you could possibly sort of question as far as as far as Areola was concerned. Could he have done a bit better? This, that, and the other. But by and large, I actually think he acquitted himself well. And I don't think that dropping him from the starting 11 was actually justified, in my humble opinion. Now, the problem is, all right, like I say, Fabianski made the save. Great, fine, no problem. And I dare say you'll probably mark him quite well when we get to the player ratings. But be that as it may, I think potentially we've now got an unhappy player in the ranks, Duke. Another unhappy player.
We've got several. It's not just one. And this for me comes down to David Moyes. It's not just one unhappy player in that squad, in that first team, even mate at the club, because I can guarantee you some of the youngsters are beginning to feel a bit pissed and a bit miffed over it all. Okay. there's a lot to be said right now for what happened with Gianluca Scamacca. There are all kinds of rumours flying around.
Yeah.
One I heard yesterday was that he he saw his name on the subs bench and went, "Nah, fuck it, I'm done." Now that's one rumour I'm hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I did hear
and
he was a fitness doubt before the game, though. In fairness,
yeah,
so
no, I heard that he was there receiving treatment. He was never gonna stay, or he wasn't on the team sheet, so he was told he could go home. The fact that he went home says to me that that's not the case for me anyway, and the way that I can pretty much guarantee that man feels after his treatment at the hands of David Moyes so far this season, I'm very much of the belief, shall I say, that he has gone, nah, fuck it, I'm not feeling it, boss. Yeah, my knee's still not right. Guarantee if he was on the starting lineup, there wouldn't have been a problem. But the fact that he's been put on the bench and he was a fitness doubt, I reckon he has gone, nah, fuck it. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be up at this club anymore. I don't want to play for this manager. I'm pretty much done and dusted. So I'm sorry. It's not just one player in Areola, and
oh
Areola
no,
should be our number one. And to be fair, Rob, it's not just one player. If you take the ones that have already gone, you had Harrison Ashby, you
yeah,
had Manny Longello, you had Josh Cullen 2 years ago, you
Alex
had
Crow, Nikola
Alex
Vlasic,
Crow, who was on loan. I'm just trying to say about the youngsters that have gone. You know,
yeah,
Baptiste. Who was the other young lad that went to
Agiolese,
Sunderland? Oh, actually, they're saying who's the other one that went to Sunderland?
Agiolese.
No, the striker went with him.
Striker went with him to Sunderland.
There was a striker that joined Sunderland afterwards. Was it Parfit Williams?
Pass.
Hang on.
Evening, Mo.
There was another one that went. Ekwa.
Ekwa.
Well, yeah, it was Ekwa.
Yeah.
That's gone. Thank you.
Did he go to Sunderland?
Yeah, he went to Sunderland back in January, end of January. And Marky boy, thank you. Yeah, like Sharky says, Vlasic as well. So I said in when we did the Talk West Ham when Brian Deere was unable to come on. The players have there are players that have grounds to take this guy to a tribunal for harassment and bullying behaviour. There really are, and it's embarrassing. It's ridiculous that I'm not being funny. There are currently 2 managers that are significantly better than ours that are currently available. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. There's fucking loads. You're available.
You're about Potter.
You're available. I'm available. I mean, let's be honest.
I'm not a manager.
Loads of managers around that can do a better job, but there are 2 that were sacked yesterday. And whilst I wouldn't be in such a rush to go for one of the 2, I would still appreciate having him with us after this season. But there's one that I would be. I would have, the second that I found out yesterday that Potter had gone from Chelsea, I would have sacked David Moyes over the phone. I would have sent him a text message, fuck off, you're done. And I would have put everything into going and getting Graham Potter. He is a project manager. Chelsea didn't want a project. Well, they did want a project manager when they signed him. My argument is that he's used to having 100% input in everything that goes on at a club. When he was at Brighton, yeah, okay, they weren't pretty, they weren't fantastic, but it does. He was a manager that, you know, the way that they set up from the youth team set up downwards, or should I say upwards, when you look at like the under 14s would play the same way as the first team, because then the players would know what they're doing when they come into the first team. You know, he sets his scouting team up. Right, okay, I need a player that can do this. can do that, can do the other, and he's not getting that at Chelsea. Chelsea went out and bought everyone for him. So he didn't get the players he needed to play a certain way or in a certain set of tactics. So what did we expect? So it's just one of them. I'd be all out, going all out for Graham Potter right now, personally.
I'm not. I'll be honest. I respect your opinion. I'm not entirely convinced Graham Potter or Brendan Rodgers are the sort of manager that you would want to bring in with 10 games to go in a Premier League relegation battle. That's just my opinion. I think that.
Mate, we're going to be in a relegation battle with David Moyes. Who would you rather? Who do you think would possibly keep us up?
David Moyes has been through a relegation battle before.
Yeah, but he's the one that's put us in a relegation battle.
Oh yeah, no, I get that.
So I'm kind of, that's where I'm at anyway.
Yeah, I don't think that neither Graham Potter or Brendan Rodgers has any experience in negotiating successfully a Premier League relegation battle. David Moyes does. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean to say that I think that he should be the manager long term. I think that, and as I say, I've been on record, I think he should have gone after the Leicester game. But do excuse me, I'm Winnie's sitting on my lap and she's just nibbling away at my fingers, the little mare. God, come on, leave me alone. But hang on, I'm just going to put her back down. She's going to have to. This is what happens, ladies and gentlemen. This is live streaming at its finest. You get attacked by 12-week-old puppies. Unbelievable. But yeah, like I say, I'm just not convinced myself that either Potter or Rodgers I'd want for these last 10 games. Would I want them next season? Yeah, definitely. To be honest, I'd probably edge towards Rodgers myself. That's my opinion. I think that Rodgers has a bit more experience at dealing with how can I put this, higher end players. I think that it's probably been proven that when Graham Potter has to deal with higher end players like he had to at Chelsea, I don't think that he can do it. It doesn't look to me like he can cope with sort of like the high-end prima donna type players. Brendan Rodgers has an awful lot more experience in that regard. So that's probably why I would sort of lean towards him.
Mate, I don't think it's going to matter. I don't think he's going anywhere anyway. So, I mean, we're just having a pipeline.
What, even next season?
Mate, I still think he'll be there. I really do. He signed a 3-year contract, didn't he, on the 1st of April? Was
that? Yeah, I think we can admit that was a load of old bollocks. Larry let the cat out of the bag anyway, if anybody believed it. Oh, hello. Here's a question for you coming from Mr. Mo. How about Jose?
Nope.
Go on. What's the reason for that? He's a winner.
I'd have him. I'll tell you what. I'd give him a contract. I think you put it in the chat yesterday. I'd have him for. I think you said it about Rodgers, but I'd have him for 2 years. Rob, it would be 2 years. It would be 2 years only. There would be no contract clauses for silverware or anything else. I
agree with that.
Yeah, I do. That's why I want him.
Yeah. Will still? Sharky's asking.
He's still at Rems. Will's still at Rems.
Yeah, but would you take him?
No, he's still there. Will.
Shut up.
No.
After
doing a bit of after doing my homework, after giving him doing a bit of homework and looking at him, knowing what I know about Potter, looking at Carrick and spending some time with that. I'd rather give Carrick the job and the money, to be honest with you.
How about Ted Lasso?
Yes. I'd actually take what's his name? It wasn't Rocket, was it? It was the other fella. I'd take the one that took the piss out of Bob Bradley. It was on Sky. Do you remember that? They had him on Sky.
On Soccer AM.
Yeah.
Could there be a return in Avram Grant? Would you take him back?
I'd rather support Millwall.
Yeah, I think I'd rather sort of like get a Ouija board out and see if Fred West fancies the gig, quite frankly. Anyway.
And so am I, Sharky. So am I.
Do you know what? I think I've probably said this before. I've never played it.
Oh, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. But it was I took Dartford and I took Ebbsfleet when I was working at the Ball anyway. I took Dartford and I took Ebbsfleet to the Champions League. I took I won Champions League with West Ham. I signed some cracking players, developed some cracking players, but doesn't Brad Bobley. That's it, Brad Bobley. Mr. Tumble. I think he'd be a better manager, Cyber, than Moyes at the minute. To be honest with you.
Do you know, so I got some information about Mr. Tumble. Apparently, he don't like kids. Who knew?
After doing that job for as long as he's done so, Rob, I wouldn't be surprised.
Right. Well, what do you reckon? Do you reckon we should get into the old player ratings, old chum?
Let's smash some player ratings in.
And you guys in the live chat, you can get involved in this one as well. Let's do player ratings. Right, there he is. Between the sticks, he was there. As I say, I do wonder whether it was wise putting him in there and what the damage might have been to Alphonse Areola's confidence. But that's for a conversation for another time, another day. Tell me what you thought of the big Polish shot stoppers performance yesterday.
Two cracking saves. I mean, we spoke about the one at the top of the show, and Kent mentioned the other one. Other than that, I don't think they really caused us too much problems,
No.
Rob, to be honest with you. There really wasn't much else that I was concerned about that they were bringing to the table. I'll give him a 7. There really isn't much else to say about it, to be honest with you.
Well, I don't think Epic thought much of his performance. Needs to go back to the Polish league. That's a bit harsh.
Well, I do think his time is up, Rob, and that's not being.
Yeah, no,
It's not me trying to be horrible or anything else to go with it, but I do think his time is up, and there is now something we do need to be looking at the possibility of. Well, we've got his long-term replacement, but it seems that we don't want to use him.
Yeah, right. Okay, so we've got some people in the live chat that have given their markings, and they're all pretty much the same. Mo says he's a 7. Walshy says he's a 7. Sharky says he's a 7. There's a pattern emerging here, Duke.
It looks
Paul
like
says he's a 7. Marky says he's a 7. And Kent says 7. Only letdown was slow distribution. Well, that's standard, isn't it, Kent? But he was solid and did everything else perfectly. So you can't really sort of like say too much more than that. Now, this was the other guy that I was a little bit critical of his selection pre-match, and he probably, just as much as Fabianski did, made me look like a bit of a Burke, to be perfectly honest with you, because he got an assist to his name, and I thought he had a decent enough game. But you might think differently, Duke, and you guys in the live chat as well.
I'm going to choose my words carefully, Rob.
Ooh.
Not because I thought he played badly. I'm just going to think about what I'm... He frustrates the shit out of me. He looked really good going forward, Rob.
Yep.
To be honest with you, I actually did enjoy his forays forward. I actually, at one point, he could have scored, Rob.
Yeah. Was you surprised to see...
The only other person that I would have said... Well, I actually said, if only that had been... if only that had been Who was it? I said Antonio, and then I took it back. I took it back straight away.
Straight to the keeper.
Yeah, he would have missed anyway. It wouldn't have mattered. Yeah, I actually thought he was quite good going forward. Rob, there is a wicket or 7
Yeah.
in his defending. There really is, and it irritates the shit out of me that at any moment in time we could fall foul just because he cannot defend. But other than that, like I say, if I give him his due of going forward, I actually quite enjoyed it. So I will give him a 7. Yeah.
Josh just makes the point before I go into the sort of like the scoring that the guys in the live chat have gone. He makes the point he's very grabby at times in the box. Is that
Yeah.
you would level at him? You think that's fair?
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's whether it's we've seen already penalties. We've actually benefited from a very rough decision from a penalty against Fulham, if I remember rightly, earlier in the season, when Craig Dawson was. Where he body checked someone, fell over, and we got the penalty. I'm not quite sure how it happened, but we still got the penalty for it. Yeah, you have to be careful. I mean, when VAR was first used in the World Cup, we saw so many penalties that were given off the back of grabby in the penalty box.
Yeah.
I think it was the World Cup. Yeah, no, it was the World Cup. Very grabby. Lots of penalties given. So he does have to be very careful. But I don't think he did too badly yesterday, Rob, if I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think he did too badly.
So you're scoring him as a 7, are you?
I'm going to give him a 7, mate, yeah.
Fair. Right. Well, Sharky's giving him just 1 less, gives him a 6. Marky's giving him a 7. Cyber's giving him a 7. Paul's giving him a 7. Andy's giving him a 7. Trudge also a 7, but goes on to make the point that he could implode at any second, though. Yeah, very much so. Kent says 7, Tilo, but he never had much to beat. He has all the tools, but he hasn't mastered them. Yeah, that's probably a fair analogy, to be fair, Kent. And True Cockney gives him a... Oh, sorry, that's for Fab. Sorry, I do apologise, True Cockney. That was his score for Fabianski. So,
right.
Yeah, he'll catch up in a minute. So
he's given no, he has. It's the next one down, Rob.
Is it? Hang on. Oh, sorry, I'm just True Cockney gives him a high 6. Trudge also goes on to say he argued against signing Chileta Shah, who obviously played yesterday for Southampton.
Awful challenge, by the way. Awful challenge. And the only reason he stayed on the pitch is because Bowen bounced straight back up. If Bowen had laid on the floor, held an ankle, held a knee, held whatever he needed to hold, that man would have walked. It was horrible to watch, and I'm glad that Bowen rode the challenge, was up, and then remonstrated with the referee that what the hell's that?
Evening, Anton.
That we got. They got lucky. It was an awful challenge from him. Awful challenge. And I'm very glad we didn't sign him, to be honest with you.
Just inside of Tilo Kehrer was the French Colossus, Mr. Kurt Zuma. What did you make of his performance yesterday?
He was all right. I mean, again, I have moments where players stand out for me. And I remember things that they did, and you kind of remember some outstanding moment in a game, and there wasn't one, in my opinion, from him. It was he just did what he did. We'll be talking about there, Ken Zuma, because if he did, I don't remember them, but I do remember the one on Bowen from Kalatakar. I'll go. Can I go halves?
Oh, go on. You listen. You've got Charlie Boys in the chat. How you doing, Charlie
Boy?
What,
I'm just gonna go CB. I'm gonna go a 6, Rob. I was gonna go 6.5. I'll go 6.
Okay, interesting. Let's see what the guys in the live chat think. We've got a few of the scores coming through now. Marky Boy gives him a 6. Trodge gives him a 7. You guys are a little bit slow out the blocks tonight. Come on, here we go. Right, Sharky gives him a 6. So we got 2 6s and a 7. Walshy's giving him a 7. So yeah, I mean, I thought, exactly what Trodge said there. Didn't have much to do. Do you know what I mean? It's like he's playing against a forward line that's arguably the worst in the Premier League. Hence why they're rock bottom.
Yeah.
He's giving a spoiler. Is Trodge? He's going to upset a few. Listen, if it's your honestly held belief, Trodge, don't worry about upsetting people. That's your opinion. I've got my puppy looking up at me, whining away. Sort of like, why are you not having me on your lap, Daddy? It's like, it's because I'm in the middle of a live stream, sweetheart. Come on. Dear, oh dear. So Cyber gives Zuma an 8. Kent says 7. Just used his experience to see him through the game. Looked so towards the. I think he might have missed out the word tired. I believe looked so tired towards the end, but I'm pretty sure he was fasting for Ramadan. Yes, I believe that is true, Ken. I believe so. And Sharky's asking Trodge if he's going to give him a 10. I don't think he is, but he goes on to say he's nothing too major. He's just docking a point from Aguirre, who many rate as man of the match. So I'm guessing that he's probably just given away that he doesn't think he was man of the match. Okay. Well, listen, again, it's your honestly held opinion, Trodge. Don't worry about it. If those that mind don't matter and those that matter don't mind. That's the way I look at it, mate. Don't worry about it. Naya Aguirre, the one that obviously got the only goal of the match. Oh, hang on. We've got a few more coming through. Epic says Zuma was a 6. And Usual Suspect says that he was a 7. Epic goes on to say that he was bang average. Cyber also says he was fasting, same as Benny and Aguirre. Right. Talk to me about the match winner. Oh, hang on. Sorry, True Cockney, 7, says for Zuma.
Right, you ready?
Go for it.
I'm going to give him a 7.
Okay.
And the 7 does come because of the goal. Otherwise, it would have been a 6. I just think again, it was another player that's up against much like Zuma. He's up against a team. It's one of the worst in the Premier League at the moment. Their forward line. It's not pretty. It's not clever. So for me, yeah, it doesn't. I'll give him a 7. He got the goal. It was a good goal. It was a well taken goal. Definitely onside. I don't know why it took 4.5 fucking minutes to figure it out. But 7.
Fair enough, mate. No problem. Right. Well, Cyber reckons he was a 9.
Cyber's been drinking.
He must have been. Usual Suspect says he was an 8. Marky Boy says he was an 8. Trodge says he was a 7. He goes on to say he almost cost us 3 points, which would have been a disaster. Paul says that he was an 8. Andy says he was an 8. And Sharky says he was a 7. Marky Boy goes on to make the point. Zuma and Aguirre together in a back 4. 3 games, 3 wins, none conceded.
Yep. I know you can't. I was playing.
Well, you can now, can't you?
Well, yeah, you can at this time.
Yeah. And we didn't say it was alcohol.
By drinking, we mean, fluids, not necessarily. Yeah. I don't know whether you partake in the alcoholic beverages, Cyber?
No, he doesn't, does he? He's Muslim.
He's a good boy.
He's a good lad. Right. Okay. Trodge says, played well apart from when they hit the bar. Then it rebounded to Aguirre, who air kicks it. Then almost fouls the attacker, lost his head for a second. That was Paul Onuachu, wasn't it? The guy that we was linked with, who's Southampton now.
How big was that bastard as well, by the way?
6'7", isn't he?
What a lump.
Yeah.
Big old fella.
Score, though, so stuff it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking, to be honest with you.
Yeah, our defence ain't the best, but he couldn't do anything. Kent goes on to say for Aguirre, he was a 7, but he had nothing to play against, really. He also faded towards the end due to fasting. Yep, fair enough. And you're getting... Is he your nephew? Have you adopted him? Apparently, Walshy reckons that Vanuatu is 12'8". Well,
I don't think it was far off, to be honest
yeah.
with you. I will be honest. I don't think it was far off.
Playing at left back, Emerson. What did you think?
Again, I don't think he was too bad, mate. I think again, there wasn't a huge amount for him to be doing. I know it sounds stupid, but it really wasn't. He turned up and it was all right. I'm actually I'm gonna give him a 7.
7. Right. Usual suspect comes in. He gives him an 8. He was very impressed with his performance yesterday. Okay.
And he's allowed to be.
Absolutely. Like I say, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I don't have to agree with it. I don't have to like it. All we ask is that people give their honest opinions, and if it's their honest opinions, then fine. Marky Boy gives him a 7. Sharky gives him a 6. Walshy gives him a 7. Paul gives him a 7. Trodge says it's his man of the match. Interesting, Trodge. Interesting. Gives him an 8. Emerson says Cyber was a 7. And he goes on to say, does Trodge, he was the most attacking player with runs in the team. Kent is displaying his Forged from Iron Gold Club card. And he's saying, I'm going to exercise that privilege of being able to give decimals in my marks. So he's giving him a 7.5.
Fair play to him.
Not
I didn't
bad.
think he was. Yeah. I get it.
Can I ask a question?
Please do.
What formation do you think we were playing yesterday?
I have no fucking idea.
That's fair, because neither do
I can't even. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I was. I mean, they've got it down on some platforms as a 4-3-3. They've got it down on another platform as a 4-1-4-1 formation. I think it was more a 4-1-4-1 than it was a 4-3-3 in my opinion. But anyway, talk to me about the captain, Mr. Declan Rice, who's obviously come in for a bit of stick with his captaincy capabilities. But what did you make of the captain on the day?
I'm going to give him a 7.5.
Okay. Hang on. Why have you put in a mark for a player that we haven't got to yet?
We'll get to there. Don't worry about that.
We will.
I'll give him a 7, 7.5, 7, 7.5, 7, 7.5, 7, 7.5. Great save, Jack Butland. It's offside anyway. No, he broke up play when at points. It was a great tackle. I'm going to give him an 8. It was a great tackle, edge of the box in the first half. I don't know if anyone saw it, but he lunged down onto one knee. It was very reminiscent of Bobby Moore's tackle against Pele in the World Cup. He lunged down onto one knee. Really good tackle. Really, really good tackle. I'm going to give him an 8 for that. Yeah.
Evening, Simon. Right, let's have a little wee look here. So what we got? We have got for Rice. I'm guessing this was for Rice. 9 massive gap 1. Not quite sure what that's all about.
Is that a 10?
I don't know. Could you come back at us, Walshy? What have you scored him as? What are you doing? Marky Boy's giving him a 7. Cyber's giving him an 8. 7 from Sharky. Walshy's giving him a 7. There you go. Trodge says 7. Rice had a spell where he was immense, but he faded a bit. I think that's a fair criticism. And Paul gives him a 7 as well. Right, now, a lot of the marks here have been fairly sort of like 6s and 7s and 8s and some things in that realm. I have a suspicion, and I could be wrong, it might be about to change. Talk to me about Thomas Soucek's performance.
6. And again...
Wow. Really?
Yeah. And there's a reason for that, and we'll get to...
Please do.
He wasn't quite the wall that he has been in recent games. there seemed to be a lot of there was a lot of wayward passes in the first half. I remember him having a couple. There was some bits in the game where I think I don't want to be too harsh like the others are in the chat. To be honest with you, I think he's coming to a bit of criticism. I'm going to go with a 6.
Do you know how many touches he had of the ball yesterday?
You're going to tell me, and I'm going to go for fuck's sake.
Well, he had less touches of the ball than Lucas Fabianski did. He had 33 touches. But not only that, his pass completion was actually worse than Lucas Fabianski's. He was on 52%. He completed 11 of 21 passes attempted. The other,
Makes you
I mean,
wonder how he's still there, doesn't it?
well, that's the thing. I mean, sort of like a little while ago, you'd have turned around and said that despite the fact that we know his passing is awful, he usually manages to make up for those deficiencies with interceptions, with tackles, with aerial duels being won. If you look at his stats yesterday, he wasn't really contributing in that area as well. So you're left asking the question, what on earth was he contributing? All right, he was hooked after 68 minutes, which was a hell of a shock to me. Was probably a hell of a shock to everybody else in the stadium because they saw Flynn Downs and probably thought it was probably going to be Paqueta, isn't it? You know, it's just very likely going to be Lucas Paqueta. But he actually brought off Thomas Soucek. He was having a stinker for me. I personally, I think he was the worst player on the pitch by a country mile. And I'm talking on the pitch, including Southampton players, and they weren't all that good, mate. I thought he was shocking. Absolutely shocking.
Fair.
But so what you're scoring him a 6, did you say?
I'll give him a 6.
Okay, mate. Well, Marky Boy's giving him a 5. Walshy's giving him a 5. Sharky's giving him a 4. Paul, that's a bit harsh, but I can understand it, Paul. 0. Trodge says 4. Soucek's young lad Lavia. Oh, Soucek, young lad Lavia toyed with him. Yep, got it. Kent's come back. He's says as far as Rice's 77.5 is concerned, conservative to hold the team together, recycled the ball well, made sure the players around him, minus Big Tom. Yep, fair enough. Soucek must have been bad. Moyes took him off. Yes, fair point, Marky Boy. Fair point. Not before time. Usual Suspect says he's a 5, but he makes the point that Moyes has ruined him. Now,
Yeah, I agree with. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to agree with it to a point, but what I will say is that I think that excuse starts to wear a bit thin. That he has to start to show something. He has to start to sort of give a little bit because he's got a manager, rightly or wrongly, who's showing faith in him. I don't think that he deserves that faith, but he is showing faith in him, to be fair to David Moyes. Well, the least you could do, Thomas Soucek, is show that you've got a little bit of something about you. And with the greatest of respect, and he's not. Because he would always contribute with, when his passing was awful and he wasn't scoring goals, but you'd look at his stats as far as aerial duels won, as far as tackles and interceptions, you'd look and go, well, he is at least contributing in those areas. He isn't doing that now.
We got something out of him, yeah.
Yeah, he isn't doing that now. And that's not on David Moyes. That's on him.
That's fair.
So, yeah. Kent goes on to say, Big Tom, 4, passenger. Awful passing, couldn't do a 5-yard pass. He's an insurance runner, cannot attack the books anymore, has lost his fame and vigor, and we need to get rid of him and play Pablo. Yeah, or Flynn Downs or Manuel Lanzini. To be honest, anybody can. I'll be perfectly honest with you. He does look shot to bits. Like I say, I do. Part of that I do lay at the door of David Moyes. But I also think that he has to take a little bit of personal responsibility because it's just looking embarrassing now. I mean, this is a player that, a year, 2 years ago, whatever it was, Barcelona were allegedly sniffing around and offering 60 million quid. Mate, on the basis of his performance yesterday, we'd be lucky to get £600,000. Honestly. True Cockney says he's also giving him a 4. Time he goes absolutely shit. Bayern Munich. It might have been Bayern Munich. I knew it began with a B. We couldn't. Well, it's one of those. It's this one, isn't it, Duke? We said it before. We don't want Tottenham to win, but we need Tottenham to win.
Yeah.
So, right, let's move on to the other member of the midfield trio, Lucas Paquetá.
My man of the match, Rob, 9.
9.
Yeah, I thought he was
Impressive.
absolutely brilliant yesterday. I've got something here. 78 ball touches. He had the most ball recoveries in the entire game with 12. He had the most tackles won with 10 from 14 attempts. He had 2 out of 3 aerial duels that he won, and he had 2 out of 2 take-ons completed. Yeah, for me, he gets a 9. I thought he was absolutely phenomenal yesterday and was involved in significant bits that we did.
Do you know what it
wasn't many, but he was involved in the significant bits.
Yeah. Do you know what it seems to me? I was just saying about Thomas Souček's not contributing with the aerials, the tackles, the interceptions.
Yeah.
Well, it seems to me that Paquetá's having to do that role. So
that our creative Brazilian
and
is turning into a workhorse, yeah?
Yeah, this is the guy that I thought was going to come in and be the player that would unlock defenses and all the rest of it. And I thought he had a great game, but not in the way that I would like him to influence the game. He was doing Thomas Souček's job for him. Well, if my old service manager turned around to me one day and he turned around and said, "Boy, if I'm having to do the job that I'm paying you to do, what the fuck are you doing here?"
What are you
that's
doing?
The thing with Thomas Souček. Like I say, I don't mean to sort of bash Thomas Souček, but Paquetá was doing Thomas Souček's job for him. So what's the point of Thomas Souček? Paquetá, I do think he was man of the match. But as I say, because he was doing things that, I don't think that a Brazilian playmaker that we've spent 50 million quid, that I don't want him to be doing, tackles and interceptions and winning aerial duels. It's very good. Look, he's doing one for the team. Fantastic. I can't knock him for effort. But that's not what we want him to do, is it? Surely.
I want him to do a job regardless of what it is. And if he can perform to the best of his ability, then I'll take it all day long.
Oh, yeah, no, I get that. But that's not why we bought him, was it, Duke? This is
No, I'm certainly not disagreeing with you and what you're saying. I'm just, if he's going to do the job that Thomas Souček's meant to do, then let's find someone who then can come in and do that job. Because Souček then isn't necessarily doing anything, is he?
No, he's just getting in the way. Marky Boy says he was a 9 and gives him his man of the match award.
Yeah.
Trod says he was 7.5. Paquetá, he wins the ball when he has no right to at times, but he is often sloppy and messes up the easy passes. Yeah, there was a couple of passes that did go astray, in fairness. I will say that. Mo gives him a 7. Usual Suspect gives him an 8. Paul gives him a 9. Trod says that he was sloppy, but gives him a 9. I think he's... Yeah, that's all right. I think I've just realised what he's sort of like countering someone else. Walshy says he was a 9 and gives him his man of the match. Looked lively and up for it compared to others. Who could you mean? True Cockney says he was very good yesterday. Gives him a high 8. Marky Boy comes back and says should have played Paquetá in Souček's role with Lanzini as a 10. Hindsight's perfect vision, isn't it? But I think, that would have made much more sense. I'll be completely honest with you, mate.
Yeah.
Just having a look through. Moyes is going to turn Paquetá into Batty. Oh, no, not David Batty. No, we don't. No, definitely not. Jared Bowen, Duke.
7. There was some liveliness out there. I mean, he looked eager, but again, I'm going to mention it because it happened elsewhere. In fact, it happened on the other side of the pitch, which really annoyed me. You could tell what the tactics were, Rob, from the off when Bowen and Benny on the other side received the ball. because rather than running at their man and going to take a man on, they turned and passed it sideways or backwards. So it's through no fault of his own that's what happened. But unfortunately, it does affect how he and Ben Rama play. So I'm going to give him a 7 from me. But, it's a high 7. It's not his fault, if you understand my meaning.
That's fair enough, mate. That's fair enough. Just having a little look at the comments coming through, just starring them as I go. Right, I think that's everyone. Right, okay, so from the top. So Marky Boy gives him a 6. Oh, hello. Hello. Another one flashing their forged gold card. 7.6 from Mo. 7 from Usual Suspects, says he never stopped trying. True Cockney also gives him a 7. Trodge, another one with the gold card being waved around with abandon. Worked his nuts off. Amazing defensively. Gives him a 7.5. Sharky gives him a 7. Kent gives him a 7. Walshy says he was a 6. Missing in action for the first 15 to 20 minutes. Whereas Mandy says that he ran the wing well and gave him a 7. And Eamon also gives him a 7. So on the opposite flank, Duke, was the Algerian wing wizard known as Saeed Ben Rama. What did you make of his performance?
Again, for me, mate, it comes back to the fact that they're hamstrung. The two wide boys, they're very much hamstrung in what they can and can't do, and sadly, it's affecting their decision making, and you can see it straight off the bat that it really is affecting the. That they want to run. They want to go at a player. They want to pick up the ball and go, and unfortunately, they're not able to because they're, like I say, they're being hamstrung by the tactics. They can't go forward and break like they want to. They can't take on their men. They're not. It's just something that's now been kind of instilled and enforced in these players that this is how it's got to be. So it's shit. It's not their fault, but unfortunately, it's the best. It's the best that's out there at the minute. So I'm going to give him a 7, same as the other side.
Newsflash: do you know he's got 4 bottles of Prime?
Can I make a comment on that? Not
Please
everyone
do.
should be. I shouldn't be vilifying, but who are the creators of the Prime drink?
That's Logan Paul and KSI, is it not?
Yeah. Have a little look at what KSI happened to do and what the rest of the sidemen happened to do on a countdown esque type thing that they did. He pulled out a racial slur, if you want. So as much as my boy likes bottles of Prime, I certainly won't be going anywhere near it. And when they're charging a fucking tenner a bottle, I'll say, Cyber, you got more money than sense with 4 bottles of it, mate.
Yeah, no, I've not gravitated towards that, mate. I think it's an absolute fucking liberty as far as I'm concerned. But there you go. It is what it is. Right. So Ben Rama says Eamon was a 6. Marky Boy says he was a 7. Benny gets a 7 from Cyber. Sharky says he was a 6. Trodge says linked up really good with Emerson, he thought, and gives him a 7. Then we move on. We've got True Cockney gave him an 8. Generous.
Yeah.
Paul gives him a 7. Kent, however, says he was a 6. Was like a fullback at times. He can't be his expressive self. We've also got a 6 from Usual Suspects. Goes on to say he was fasting and never looked right. Walshy gives him a 6.5, and that was my black card score. Wow. I'll tell you what, they're all using their different levels of what's the hierarchy sort of thing, I don't know. Right, we'll have to sort of have words. We'll have to sort of go and sort of talk to our local MP about some of the stunts that the people in the live chat are pulling with their scores. Talk to me about Danny Ings.
through no fault of his own, Rob, I'm going to give him a 5. As I say, it really is through no fault of his own. It's not something that he's done. It's the way we're playing him and the way we're not getting people around him. He did not affect in any way, shape or form the game that we had. The game that we had was very much on him in the sense that, not on him. It's affected him because of the way we're set up, the way we're not able to get anyone near him. We can't get anyone near him because of the way we're set up. He's a box striker. He does all his best work in and around the box, and I'll put it in the private chat, Rob, for you to see if you haven't seen it.
I've seen it.
But it's a 5 for Ings. Actually, I'm going to give Ings a 6 in the same way that I've given Soucek. Whereas it's Soucek's fault that he doesn't influence the game, I suppose, in the way that I'd like him to. It's not Danny Ings' fault.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Right, let's have a look at what the live chat gremlins are going with. Mikey Boy's giving him a 6. Cyber gives him a 7 and then goes on to say he gives him a 7.5 because he drinks Prime. I'd actually take half a point on him if he's going to be moronic enough to pay £5 a bottle for that piss. But that's
it's awful. It really is horrible stuff.
Yeah. Honestly, I think if you're drinking that, mate, honestly, you need to give your head a wobble. Sharky gives Ings a 5. True Cockney says he was a 6 and he meant to give Benny a 7. That's fine, mate. No problem at all. Mandy says he was a 5, stuck near the halfway line and cannot outrun anyone. Eamon gives him a 7. He says he done what was asked of him. A lot of effort, a lot of running around. Unfortunately, we didn't give him any service. Yes, right. Okay.
No service, no support, yeah.
So I suppose we got to end this. That's the starting 11 all taken care of. Oh, hang on. Sorry. Got a few more that's come through. Hold on. Here we go. Kent is giving him a 6. Purely for effort. Felt sorry for him. No help. Isolated. Moyes kill strikers. We've discussed this before, Kent. You and I are on the same page on this one, my friend. Walshy says, felt sorry for him. Absolutely no support. Gives him a 5. Paul gives him a 6. Says, shouldn't have come off. And we started putting balls into the box after he was pulled. You couldn't make it up, could you, Paul? Trod says he could be generous and give Ings a 5. There you go. Right. Well, Sharky says Moyes only wants to defend. He's so negative. So I guess that means we got to mark him now, mate.
4.
Ooh, you do realise we won and we're up to 14th. The heady heights of 14th.
And it wasn't,
where we haven't been since fireworks night.
Listen, it wasn't for the want of trying to hold out for a draw, Rob. That's where I'm at. He sucked the life out of this team, and it breaks my heart to see us play like we're currently playing. It's horrible. We are such a better side than we allow ourselves to be at the moment. Do you know what I mean? We're not. The players are not expressing themselves. They're unable to. We are such a better side than we're allowing ourselves to be at the minute, and that comes down to the Moyes on the man on the screen in front of you.
Well, there's a few people in the live chat that are giving their thoughts on it, so let's have a look. Marky Boy gives him a 4. Ouch. Walsh gives him a P45. Trodge gives him a 5. Cyber gives him a 0. That's a bit harsh. We did win the game, in fairness.
But again, I get it.
I think we probably won it in spite of Moyes' tactics rather than because of them.
I think that's it, isn't it?
Although
it's more that.
Although the irony wasn't lost on me that obviously we was talking on the match preview, didn't we, about these comments that had come out that Moyes wanted to change us and didn't want us just to be a team that relied on set pieces. And of course, the goal on this one was a set piece, wasn't it? So
it was
quite ironic. So Paul gives him a 4. Cyber makes a point the way he celebrated like he won the league. It was probably more a pressure thing than anything, because if we'd have lost, we'd have been rock bottom, and I think he probably would have gone at that point in all likelihood. But well, we'll never know now. Sharky says he can't wait until he's gone. True Cockney says he's a 2, one for the win and the other one for going home after the game. Mandy says starting Soucek shows more intent to contain rather than to explore and create, and gives him a 3. And she goes on to say Everton are going to beat Spurs unless Spurs get their act going second half. Yeah, I haven't heard much from the missus in the front room. Sort of
I've
like
been watching
shouting
it,
and
Rob, and it
screaming,
ain't great.
Is it not?
Nah.
Yeah, she's just told me it's shit. Great, brilliant, fantastic. Moyes gets a 5. The way we were playing, it felt like we was the away side. We won't get many more wins with us sitting back and performing like that. And we've got Newcastle coming up. Yay! Gatesy, Ings reminds what used to happen with Carroll. When Carroll was on the pitch, we go to feet. When Ings is on the pitch, we hit his throat or whack it 50 yards in front of him. Yeah. And yeah, it's 0-0. Yeah, cheers, Mandy. Yeah, I mean, look, from my point of view, like I say, I don't think that the tactics were great. I think that the performance from we just managed we got over the line by being marginally less shit than the opposition, and the opposition are shit. And I've got no problem with Southampton, as a club, as a fan base, whatever, fine. I've got no particular hatred or animosity towards them, but they're getting relegated this season because they're shit. They deserve to be where they are. And we just managed to be marginally less shit than they were over a 90-minute spell. And we were the home team. You thought we could be a little bit better than a bit less shit than the opposition. But there you go.
Part of it is, Rob, that's literally it. We were only a little bit less shit.
Just on this one, Duke. Mandy's making the point about Benny's speed to play as a winger. Were you a little bit surprised that Maxwell Cornet didn't make any sort of introduction? I mean, he was a bit of a handful in the Villa game.
I'm surprised by a lot of things, Rob. Cornet not playing, his treatment of Skamaka, the reason we signed Ings. I can't even tell you any more than that, Rob, to be honest with you, because it just absolutely blows my mind that we're not. Remember, go back, watch a few of the old videos.
What
else? I said these words about Ben Rama. About something that he lacked previous.
Oh, what was it? You called it? Is it a game intelligence or something like that? Wasn't it?
Footballing intelligence.
Yeah. I remember.
Well, that's Moyes right now. He lacks football intelligence. I don't like seeing the comments that call him a dinosaur, because that's unfair on dinosaurs. I don't like seeing them, but he's outdated, Rob, in a game that evolves constantly, and it does evolve constantly because 20 years ago, 20 years ago, you could throw in a tackle and absolutely fucking ruin a man, get the ball, and you won the ball. It doesn't matter. Now you can't even tickle him and you'll get a yellow card. So the game evolves constantly, daily, weekly. There's always something different. And unfortunately, Moyes isn't one to learn. Moyes isn't one to develop and move with the times. He's not. So he's not going to last. No, Cyber, no. He's not going to last. It's detrimental to our football club.
Well, there is the Premier League table. I mean, it's incredible, isn't it? We started the day in 19th. If we'd have lost, we'd have been 20th. We won, so we've shot up to 14th, which is great. But I'm going to say again, I still think that the extra 2 points that we waved goodbye in the games against Newcastle away Chelsea and Villa at home. I think they could come back to home. I still think that probably we've got enough to have more after 38 games than at least 3 other teams in the Premier League, but I wouldn't bet my mortgage on it.
No. I mean, Marky Boy's just made a comment there about Arteta, Pep, Ten Hag. Now, Arteta's still relatively young in the pool of managers, if you will, shall we say. Pep's getting older. Ten Hag looks about 97, but I think that's just a haircut. Saying that, Rob, good haircut.
Oi, there's no need for that.
For me,
it's getting a bit long, actually.
For me, it comes down to the fact that our owners feel that the tried and tested methods are the only ones that matter, and Moyes is tried and tested, and it could come back and shoot us in the foot.
With our strikers, we'd miss.
Well, yeah. It's only because their confidence is fucked. Are you there Wednesday, Rob?
Should be, yeah.
I'm going.
Depends on work. Yes, I heard. Yes.
I'm going Wednesday. I'm going Thursday. I have my tickets for Thursday night.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Four of us. We're going to go and cheer on the youngsters. I have my tickets for the Genk game.
Good lad.
At home. I've pre-ordered these, and I'm going to take a look at the end of the week about any of the other home games coming up that I can try and get to before the end of the season. Not that I want to put myself through it, I suppose, but so
it's character building.
I mean, yeah, Paul. You know what? I said it. I did say that that we were pushing our luck. I did say that we could rule our missed chances. We had a couple. Benny firing over was one. We could have. We could have been in a bad situation. We weren't. I wouldn't go as far to say we got lucky, but we got away with a 1-0 win. So yeah, that's essentially where I'm at.
Less shit than the opposition.
It's the only way to put it, isn't it? That's the best way to put it down to, mate. We were less shit than a shit team. Any
final thoughts before we knock it on the head, old chump?
No, tomorrow night, 8:00. Are we there?
Yeah,
for the preview, because obviously that's the preview. Then we got the game. Obviously the review for the Newcastle game, because I'm going to be. I'm out near enough all day. So unless you want to do a recording or an early, I know you've got work though, haven't you?
Hang on, I'm just trying to work this out because obviously I haven't actually got tickets for the youth semi-final yet, because that's going to have to be bloody hell. How are we going to do this?
I know, right? This is the thing.
Okay. I'll get me thinking cap on. I'll talk to you about it.
We'll figure it out. We always do, don't we?
So, that's old news, Cyber. That's very old news. Going from
I didn't know.
Castle. Did you not know?
No.
Well, it's not being sort of given final approval. But this is an old idea that's been floating around. But basically, it's an extension that will go basically from the Elephant and Castle down the Old Kent Road and finish off by you. But
interesting.
It'll probably be, I don't know, by the time we're pushing up daisies, wouldn't it? So,
Well, this seems to be the norm, doesn't it? As Mr. Paul Stewart has just joined us. Good evening, Paul.
He is. He's here. Relieved to win, but not convincing at all. Still concerned by our performance levels. Got to buck our ideas up when the tune come to town. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what team he puts out. I wouldn't be shocked if he maybe sort of rotates it a little bit. We'll see.
I think he needs to. I think he needs
I
to.
think he does. I don't want to see
9
Tom.
games in a month.
Yeah, going to need to rotate it all around. Anyway, right, we're going to knock it on the head there, guys. As it says there, please don't forget to like, comment on, and share the stream to your socials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon for alerts on new content. As always, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you very much indeed for your support. And speaking of support, please don't forget to give your support to the Iron Supporting Food Banks charity. They need us more than ever, guys. Stay safe. Come on, you Irons. We'll go again 8 o'clock tomorrow evening, and see you soon. Take care.
Take it easy.
Forge from Iron is proud to support Iron Supporting Food Banks. They are a group of West Ham United fans and friends inspired by the work of other football fan food banks around the country. They collect food and cash donations from Newham Food Bank in Beckton, who supply 7 distribution centres in the borough, 7 days a week, and hand out several hundred 3-day emergency food packs every month to families in need. They are also working with other groups to improve conditions for vulnerable adults and children in the Newham community. They are supported in their efforts by West Ham United Football Club, the WHU Foundation, LS185, London Legacy Development Corporation, Newham Council, the Met Police, Spire London East Hospital, Expedient Security, and a large number of West Ham and football fans. You can help by making a donation to their Just Giving page. You will find the link to this in the description section of the video details in this stream. Thank you for your support. Come on, you Irons.